Hello and welcome to Pop Snitch Pod. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Brandon.
And we need your help. We really, really need you to stop what you're doing and go to YouTube and make sure that you're subscribed there. We've already seen a lot more people subscribe and we really appreciate it. If you have already subscribed, what you can do is send it to a friend and just say, hey, you want to make my day? Subscribe to this. You don't even have to watch it. Just subscribe to it. So sharing is caring.
Create yourself a FoodTube account and just create another account and
just
follow
like
us there.
Finsta, they do have FoodTube. And do what you need to make those numbers soar for us. We appreciate you in advance. But what were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say, elder millennial Brandon had no idea what a Finsta was until like 2 weeks ago.
That is so embarrassing that you didn't know what that was. That word has been utilized for like over a decade.
I had no clue. And people use it all. The worst part is that people used it all the time. And I just ignored, because I just didn't know. I thought Finsta was like another thing I just wasn't involved in. They'd be like, I was on Finsta and blah, blah. I'm like,
you're like, well, I'm not involved in Finsta. I'm not on that platform.
It's also important to note that I don't try to hide any of my online dealings. Like, I will friend someone that I do not know simply because they're like a tertiary friend of a friend that I want to know more about. So I'll just friend them.
Yeah.
And
no, Brandon is quick to send it. Quick. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And his full name, Brandon Batson, would like to be your friend. Brandon Batson is asking to follow you on this platform. And it is anywhere. He'll do it on Facebook. He'll do it on Instagram. He'll do it on TikTok. He doesn't care. He's got no shame. If my friends want to learn something about someone that we're low-key stalking, we just send Brandon to it because his mom will send it to people too. Like, it's their whole family is just like, sure, yeah, let's throw it out there.
I mean, I have many friends from jobs that I've had, from all these different things, and I'll look on there and it'll be like mutual friends, Robert, Kyle, and Cynthia. I'm like, my parents are friends with these people that I don't even talk to anymore.
Oh yeah. If your parents see that you're friends with someone, they're like, I absolutely will also be friends with them. I don't know who they are or how you know them, but we're friends now. What's crazy to me is that people accept it. I'm like, what? I would never.
I got it honest. I learned it.
All y'all nosy.
That's true. So I want to jump in on some lead topics today. One of which being we saw the release of Sydney Sweeney's Amazon-backed lingerie brand that came out this week. Yep. Not liking it. Not liking the vibes that I'm getting off of that. I'm
very surprised that you're not into Sydney Sweeney and a lingerie brand.
Well, here's the problem, and I'm going to relay it to my plight. Okay, and this is why I don't appreciate it. And Chicks in the is it Chicks in the Office? Is that their podcast? Mm-hmm. They were talking about this, and their reaction I know is going to be most women's reaction.
Okay,
they don't like it. They feel like it's weird. Like, who's buying this? It doesn't seem like Sydney Sweeney would be the person that I would want as a woman showing me the lingerie that I need. It seems something like a boyfriend would buy for their girlfriend and be like, hey, don't you want to try this on? Mm-hmm. Which is the whole problem. Is when I saw this, I knew my feeble attempts to try to get you to put on lingerie for me are dead in the water. They're just one step closer to never seeing it. Wow, because I see you're going to see the Sydney Sweeney memes. You're going to see this. You're going to be like, no, never have. Mm-hmm, so I think it's just, it's robbing us all of what we need and what we want.
To me, I'm just like, girl, just do an OnlyFans. Like, if you need that coin, if that's what you're after. Because also the lingerie doesn't look comfortable. It is only for big-chested women. It's only her modeling it at this point. And it's like, none of us look like you. Congratulations on having amazing breasts. Can't relate.
Now, there's a thought. I don't think anybody else is having your take. Just start your OnlyFans. That's
my thing. I'm like, if this is for, like, it would be brilliant if it was like a soft launch of an OnlyFans, but like I don't even, and like the way that she did it, like hanging all those bras on the Hollywood sign, I'm like, okay, sure.
That didn't make sense to me. That whole move, the whole rollout of it. I mean, the most successful part of it is that it's just her in lingerie, and I'm sure every man in the world is looking at that. But it's for women though, right? Like,
well, here's the thing: like Kim Kardashian, she comes out with Skims, right? she knows that her body is not relatable to most women. So if you look at Skims, you're looking at like extra, extra, extra small to like 4 times extra large. She has models of all sizes. She does show it on herself, but she's so smart with her campaign of who she brings in to be a model, of the types of things that she has. They're meant to suck you in, or at least initially. Like, it's a completely different vibe. And so anything that she does that's like a ploy is like the nipple bra, or, you know, the thong that's supposed to look like a bush or whatever. Like, she does all of that, and it's like crazy, but it sells out because it's funny. And so she's not reliant on the fact that she has a hot body to sell this stuff, even though it does help her. So I'm just like confused about, to your point, who Sydney Sweeney thinks her audience is. Yeah,
because I don't think it's going to... what I think is it's not going to translate to sales, was what we're both saying here. It's like, I don't see...
I'm not trying to
I just don't see women... Like, if women want to be in lingerie for their men, I don't think they're going with that brand. I think they're more apt to get something from like Fenty or like a female forward brand. Mm-hmm. Versus this that seems like it's marketed towards your boyfriend.
Yeah. And that's the difference. Like, there's lingerie that's focused on like making you feel empowered. And there's lingerie that's focused on just showing how hot the owner is. And I'm not going to buy the one that Sydney Sweeney's doing. I also think it's hilarious that it was, that she said something recently, like in the last month, about how Schooner Braun was like whining about athletes sliding into her DMs, and he's like, it's disrespectful. I'm like, okay, well, now they're definitely not going to be sliding into her DMs after she threw her bras up on the Hollywood sign and has her titties out all over Instagram, but you're going to be mad at athletes about it? Okay, Scooter.
I mean, also, this is the issue with dating a beautiful woman. You're going to have other men trying to slide into her DMs, trying to talk to her, trying to give her attention. You've got to learn how to manage that a little bit better. And getting on the internet and whining is probably not the best way.
I know. He just seems like such a whiny little... I'm like, bruh, you're already rich. Enjoy it. This girl likes you. Enjoy it. If she breaks up with you, get over it. Someone else will like you because you're rich. Like,
in a million years, I never thought that they would be in a relationship together. I did not have that on my 2025 bingo card.
Well, it's because he's insecure about it, where he knows that she's way out of his league. And so he's like, stop doing it. She might not like me anymore. She might like you, an athlete who's hot. And it's like, well, she's definitely not going to like you crying about it. So, you know, get it together.
It's not going to work for him.
No.
Another internet thing that I saw this week is people talking about there's possibly a hard launch going on, or at least a soft launch of Lala Kent and Michelle from the Valley launching a relationship. Because they made this post, and they're in the post together, all cuddled up. Then there's a picture of them in the shower, naked together.
What?
And then there's one of them like cuddling on a yacht. And they're there with some of the other people from the show.
Okay.
But in the comments, they promised, I can go Brad or I can go Angelina. And which is like a reference to the Kyle Richards thing and all of this. And people are saying, like, there are rumors that this is like a real thing, that this is like a possibility.
Well, this is going to hurt Michelle at her little evangelical church that she attends with Danny.
She may not realize it yet, but that's true. I also think that, you know, a surefire way from the hot woman to lesbian pipeline is dating men like Jesse Lawley and Randall Emmett. Yeah. So I think, you know, give something else a shot, you know, is kind of how maybe they're thinking about it.
I mean, short men, they are dangerous. You really got to find, if you're going to date a short king, you need to make sure he's not nuts. Makes me think of that Bavino weird Gestapo in Minneapolis. I did not realize that he was 5'3" until I saw a picture of him walking with all of his like security guards in his little like fashy outfit. And I was like, oh, he's short. Like, you really have to beware of them, because they're going to feel like they have to make up for, you know, height loss.
Yeah, I
And I think
understand
that's
that
what
for
happened with
sure.
Jesse Lawley. And perhaps Randall, I mean, Randall was also just like not attractive and then lost all of his money. So there was that as well. But
Well,
I'm
Lala's
kind
not really been in a relationship in a long
of,
time, at least not
no.
an official one that we know about.
Well, would you ship Lala and Michelle together?
Why not? I mean, if they're
Yeah.
happy, I mean,
Yeah.
that's two women who have gone through a lot and deserve to be happy. So if they're happy with that, or even if they're just happy making us all think that they're together, I'm in
Sure.
favor of that. Like hot girl winter, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I could see it actually. And I love that for them if so. I also think it's smart to do something like that to get people excited about the Valley coming back.
Oh, I mean, it perked my ears and attention up for sure.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of people expressed annoyance that Lala was coming. And this is a good way to make them ease off of that.
Yeah.
So it's smart either way. It's good PR either way. And so I hope the best for them. I know Michelle is tired after dealing with all of this stuff. I mean, Jesse's exhausting. Watching him is exhausting. So I could not imagine being in a relationship with him, having a child, and having to like walk through this divorce and co-parenting with him. So, and then, you know, she broke up with that bug-eyed man, that bee guy, that honey man, that bug-eyed honey man.
The other people on the other people on the trip were Brittany Cartwright, Beer Cheese, and
which we know she and Kristen have, you know, snogged down below.
Oh wow, that's right. I forgot. Oh wow, I forgot about that. And then Janet, strangely enough, was on the trip. So that foursome was on the trip together. So we'll see kind of what comes of that. I assume that they're filming or at least in the mix right now. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what comes of that.
I'm excited, man. I'm ready for it.
As we announced last week, we did attend the Summer House premiere of episode 1 this past week, along with a sneak peek of Rhode Island, which looks incredible from the, 3-minute clip that we saw. But it seems like that's going to be a lot of fun. We got there super late, basically had to sit at the door.
That's correct. They thought that I was like part of like the people associated with the cast, and I was going to go along with it, but then I knew they would inevitably realize I wasn't, and I would be separated from you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to come clean.
Yeah, it was a less than ideal environment for what they were trying to do in my mind. Like it was like a watch party, but there were just like random TVs on the wall. It wasn't great, but it was a lot of fun just being there with other people. We met some people who were at our table that were a lot of fun. And we got to see the premiere, which I thought was incredible.
I mean, I will say it is so good that they and whoever their teams were smart to say that they needed to announce their separation prior to the premiere because wow. And I think it's going to be interesting to like watch it throughout. It's a longer one too. It lasted for a while, right? It was like more than 40 minutes.
I want to say it's probably going to lead into Watch What Happens. So it probably goes from like 9 until like 10:15.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's like an extra 15 minutes. But it is really interesting. I love the newbies, and I don't think I have ever felt that way upon a first watch. I really liked West the first time I saw him. But who is the blonde girl that's so funny? I know the other girl's name is Leva.
I was going to say, we're going to have to learn everybody's name before next week's episode, because next week's episode, I'm calling it now, is just going to be a all Summer House.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about the new season? We're actually going to have our first guest in a while, Patrick Quinn, who is Wendy Von Diving Board on Instagram. We're going to show one of his videos right now that he made about Summer House. I actually connected with him through a friend, Hannah, who has a podcast about poetry called Poking Around Pod, if you want to check that out. But here's Patrick, who will join us next week.
Kyle and Amanda breaking up. None of us saw this coming. It's not too late. You can still fix this. Like, are you sure you want to do this? I know a really good couples therapist. 10 times the charm, right? do this. It's never too late to fix this or start a career as a DJ. Think about the dogs. Think about Loverboy. Summer's supposed to be fun. Remember? Follow me for more Summer House related content.
As you can see, he's hysterical, and we're really excited to have him on the show.
So next Thursday. Yeah, so next Thursday, our episode will feature him on with us talking about the Summer House premiere and talking about what we're looking forward to. And maybe we'll go back in time and talk some old Summer House lore as well.
Yeah, her name's Bailey. She cracked me up in a way that I haven't laughed in a while at her story and just what happens to her. She is very relatable as a character on the show. And I'm glad that they're bringing in some fresh blood. They really, really needed to. They apparently have a ton of new people. It takes a lot to make up for Lindsay and Paige being gone, I think. They were worried. But I'm glad. I'm glad there's a lot of new blood in the house. I'm glad that there's going to be a lot of interesting entanglements.
I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great because there is a sense that they're kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and not just leaning on the old cast.
Yeah.
And I think what we're going to see based on, we won't get into it too much right now, but I think based on what we're going to see is that I feel like the old cast is kind of stepping it up because they know they're on the chopping block.
Yeah.
And they're bringing the realness. We're very excited about the season.
I have to know what happens for Kyle and Carl to fight because the last time that happened, alcohol was involved. And that was during the 2020 season when Carl started sober and then obviously after his brother passed, ended the sobriety. But I just am trying to understand what could possibly have happened to create that.
Already, even in the previews and stuff, we're seeing that people in the house, from Carl to other of the girls who've been there for a long time, are kind of in Kyle's craw a little bit and getting after him and saying he needs to be treating his wife better. He needs to be doing that. And I'm telling you, when Kyle feels backed into a corner, he's like a rabid dog.
Yeah.
He just freaks out and he says some of the funniest stuff in the history of Summer House. So I'm really looking forward to that.
When he gets drunk, when Lindsay and Carl are dating and he's like, and some people are being bitches.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And I will give Carl his due. I have not necessarily talked bad on Carl. We like Carl, but he sometimes he gets a little ridicule on this podcast from time to time. And when last week it was announced that he was having a new podcast, I grimaced a little bit. I cringed a little. But I'll tell you, his first podcast was with Kyle, and it was a good podcast. It was they got into some deep stuff about their relationship, some stuff about what they were doing right before Summer House. Very interesting. So we'll give you a plug, Carl. Go listen to More Life podcast with Carl Radke. Anywhere you find podcasts. But it actually was a really good thing.
He has Chrissy Teigen on his next one, and she's
I know he's getting.
He's pulling some good stuff.
People.
What I like that's happening with Carl now, and I don't know if we should thank Lindsay for this in retrospect, but he has surrounded himself with a really good team. And so I was worried about his book because I didn't love the title. I thought it was kind of hard to understand for people, like Cake Eater. What do you mean? If you don't know anything about Summer House or his past or what's happened, even if you do, it's kind of a bizarre title. But a lot of people are reading it and there's a lot of tea in it, apparently.
Well, Kyle told him that he should have called it More Life, that it would have been more brand centric. It would have. And everybody was like, no, that actually would have made more sense.
Someone should have checked with Kyle. But I think that he's got a good team around him. I think that his book has done relatively well, despite the title not being great. and then following the book tour with a podcast announcement and having good guests like lined up was really smart. I think Chrissy Teigen's a big get when she posted on hers. I mean, she's got tons and tons of followers. That's going to be really big for him. John Legend's going to post about it. Like I think he's setting himself up. He knows this is likely his last season, and he is trying to make sure that he has a clear brand aside from Soft Bar to keep himself afloat. So he's just done so much in the last year, honestly. And it's kind of like, I wonder what would have happened if Lindsay had just like kind of let it rock. Like, could he have come to this in that relationship? You don't think so?
I'll be honest, I don't think so. I think they're great as friends because they really kind of see each other, and they're even becoming like better friends now. You can already see it in like even some interviews they're doing together and stuff. Like they really are good friends, but I just don't think they know how to support each other. As they're looking for completely different things. Like he's looking for this very supportive, like empathetic, and she's just a very driven, very A-type in her like pursuit of what she wants and what she needs. And I just don't know that Carl will ever be able to provide that. Same thing with Lindsay providing what Carl's wanting and needing.
Yeah. I mean, I will say they were there together at the premiere that we were at. Kyle was very nice to talk to. I always think it's important to like tell people what people are like in person. Kyle was extremely friendly. Yeah,
they all seem to be nice and willing to take pictures and willing to gab. And I really appreciate that. So
Rodrigo from Summer House. Rodrigo from Summer House was with them because he was on Watch What Happens. So we saw him and it was very funny. I was like, Rod, we're in your DMs all the time. We're Pop Snitch. And he was kind of like, huh. And then I gave him a hug. I was like, your hair looks great. And I love how you're posting about ice. And he's like, yeah, ice. And I was like, I love you.
Yeah. He was great. Yeah, I'm excited for the season though. I'm stoked. It's been a while of like, honestly, haven't been crazy about Real Housewives this season. Southern Charm is fine, but it hasn't been like crazy until this past episode, really. Yeah. And then I love Vanderpump, but it's hard to like want to talk about it because no one's watching it.
I know, which is a real sadness because it's actually really good. I'm hoping after the season, people will go back and give it a try.
Yeah. Summer House is gonna take off though.
I really wish they would bring back Winter House. Like I think it's time. Like we need something to pull all of this new casting with like Next Gen NYC. Did you see they're going to do a Next Gen LA? Do that similarly out there. And yeah, I'm excited about that. And then we still have the new people from Summer House. I think that they could do some really cool stuff there for like some crossovers that could be really interesting. But anyway, let's get into Real Housewives of SLC. I know you have not liked this season as much. I enjoyed the season to some degree, but I agree with you. I think last season was so good, and honestly, every season up to now has been so good, that this season was fine. But I feel like so much of the conflict was about things that either we didn't see or were off camera, or people were at a heightened level because we didn't know about a different issue, that it was very difficult to follow the reasoning behind everything as a viewer until this. And then I honestly have been pretty unimpressed by the reunion. But I'll let you give your recap on SLC.
Well, biggest thing that is lacking in the season is they're all going through things, but they're not sharing what's going on. And now we're getting like bits and pieces through this reunion of like, oh, well, this is why Whitney was activated at times. This is why Meredith was activated. And they even talked about, which I really appreciated for maybe the first time ever, a little bit about like how production works. And how it's the job of production to get them to talk, to get them to expose. And they actually view production as their teammates, because if their show sucks or they don't share, they know that they're going to get canceled, which will affect their livelihoods and all this. And so Meredith has been notorious for blaming things on production.
Yeah.
And the other girls don't like that because in their mind, they view it correctly. Production is a member of our Real Housewives of Salt Lake City team.
Yeah.
They want us to do well. They want this show to be good. And that sounds like something that comes from Andy, honestly. There's like, if you want to stay on TV and you want to be relevant, you need to lean into production, not hide from them.
Right.
And so I did appreciate that. That was probably the coolest thing that came out of the episode last night. We back still 3 episodes in, still talking about this plane incident, still talking about Meredith. Did she have 1 drink? Did she have 2 drinks? Was it mixed with pills? Like, I really don't, they went around at the Summer House premiere asking for hot takes. And I said, #believe Meredith Marks. That's what I said.
Are you still on that? Like, are
I'm
you still
on
feeling
it
that way?
What could she possibly have done that we don't have any footage of this? And even in the last episode, they admitted that the plane was landing when all of this happened.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that it says egregious.
Yeah. It did go from someone saying that it was like hours and hours to it was on the descent, which we know is like typically half an hour. An hour to a half hour, depending on like where you're from. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, I don't know. And I frankly don't care anymore. I've lost the ability to give one single shit about it.
Yeah. And that's another thing. The whole Brittany, it just looks pathetic in the whole thing.
Oh my God, she's so annoying.
It's very bad. And then just eventually goes like, we're going to drop it. I'm sorry for what I did. Because I think she knows it's a big nothing burger.
Well, and then her talking about how I saw her daughter go on maybe reality or something. And she was saying that like her mom and her were supposed to have like BravoCon girls trip. And then what's his name? Osmond shows up and she got really mad. And she's like, and so when Andy asked Brittany about it, Brittany was like, yeah, it's just like really hard. Like, I'm trying to date. I'm trying to be with my girls. But for the first time ever, I spent Christmas with my girls. And I'm like, okay.
Brandy.
All right.
Brandy.
Priorities. Come on, girl.
You're in our DMs all the time.
Baby girl.
We appreciate you, baby. But
we do.
This is pitiful mothering behavior.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Girls are asking for a weekend, a few days.
And it's also BravoCon. What is that fool gonna do there?
Oh, he was eating it with a spoon. The minute we saw him walk down, and he was like trying to walk down literally a center aisle so that he could be seen by everyone during one of the panels.
He's a sicko.
I know.
He's off.
Someone came up to give a picture and he was like, oh, I guess.
I think another big part was we kind of got some insight into the Lisa and John trouble.
Yeah.
And Lisa went full victim mode on this.
Yeah.
And was basically like, he was disrespectful to me and I basically had to go and like be alone by myself for hours. And everybody was like, I didn't get that impression from what we saw on the show. It just seemed like he wanted you to listen to him. Yeah. And what he was saying. And then they showed the clip and I'm like, wow, like that even, I think because of her reaction to it, it made it seem bigger than it was. But he was just like, can I talk for 5 seconds and you actually listen to me?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine like when Lisa gets on a spin and she just is just talking and talking and talking. I don't know how you would get a word in edgewise.
I don't think he does. And I think someone said this, like, if this is the meanest thing John's ever said to you, certainly on camera to embarrass you, like, what a saint.
Literally. All the other men have done much worse.
Yeah, like seriously. But I mean, I do feel sorry for Lisa sometimes. I mean, she just projects so intensely. And then when it comes back on her and people are literally just saying like, hey, it'd be great if you could shut up and listen for a second. And she takes it so personally and sobs. And it's like, girl, they are not asking for a lot. They're really not. But she is either talking and yelling or disassociating completely and doesn't know where she is. There's no in between.
I mean, it's wacky. It's wacky. And last night you see it and it turns on and turns off. Like she immediately was like, yeah. And granted, I mean, there's a lot of editing and stuff. They were in there for hours and hours. But it's it's hard to edit around insanity. And
well,
so,
speaking of making something about yourself, what do you think about Whitney hijacking Bronwyn's conversation?
whoa, just whoa. And I don't know if I couldn't tell if the plan, at least in Whitney's mind, had been to eventually bring some of this up and kind of create her moment.
Sure.
And we're getting towards the end, and then Bronwyn drops this bomb, and it's like she was crying because she wasn't going to get her moment of talking about what's going on with her and her husband, like in the same way. Like she had kind of like said, we're having like some marital woes. But once that bomb drops that Bronwyn and Todd are not together anymore, like Whitney saying that her and, what's his name, are working through some things just doesn't have the same spin to it. You know what I mean?
I think she was genuine in crying. I think it really did trigger her. But I think you said something last night that was true. Like when she said, I'm the one who keeps messing up. It's like, is she cheating on him and he's finding out and she's afraid that he's going to like be Bronwyn to her? Like finally watch this back and have enough and be like, it's over.
Well, we do know that she is, I mean, there are rumors of that already. There were at BravoCon and some things like this. And it seems to me that she kind of has one foot out, like, I think brought on by a lot of things that he did too, like almost ruining her business and all these things. She's kind of had like one foot out, kind of playing around with the idea of not being with him anymore. And I think they are working on it. But I think that that's kind of, even her conversation during the season with Bronwyn about their marriages kind of puts the idea in your head that she's kind of toying with the idea of like opening up the marriage or possibly getting out of the marriage, or in the future at some point she will have some dalliance. Like she's talking about that openly. Yeah. So I can't imagine that it's in the best shape right now anyway.
Well, and her having to like go back there and hug him and all of this, I'm like, okay. It's a little on the nose, but sure. And Heather's face the whole time she's talking looked like, don't reveal your secret. Like it was a very bizarre editing thing. And I don't know if that was a real reaction or an edited reaction, but it was weird.
Well, I assume because Heather and Whitney are related, right?
Yeah, they're cousins.
That maybe she has a little more information, and she was almost trying to kind of communicate with her eyes and face, like, don't take your moment right now. Don't take your moment right now.
Yeah,
and
like rein it in.
Sure, she couldn't help it. She had to do it. And it was not like, I think they handled it okay in the editing, but she edited herself there into a very bad position of looking like she's trying to steal Bronwyn's like very reserved moment of like explaining what's going on in her relationship.
And Bronwyn's talking about such serious things, like the passing of her father, the way her mother is essentially putting her faith in her Mormonism before her when she's speaking to her. How she's dealing with the aftermath of the show, of the fact that her mother blames her for the blowback from her mother's own actions, how watching the show back like broke Todd, how she realized like she was stuck in this holding pattern with how people were talking to her.
And that gives him, like, honestly, I feel for Todd because I'm sure his edit is, he's got a villain edit, and it's an easy edit to give him because he's not really that involved. He doesn't want to be involved in the show. And then he looks unsupportive, even though he's probably looking at his wife devolving in front of him, despite all of their issues. And I think there's part of that. I think he's also just a very private person. So I think he gets this really bad edit. And there are all kinds of things that she even brought up about him taking care of her mom and dad, making sure that there was never a financial problem, like all of these things he's done for them. But if he's just watching the show, and he never had, there is not an episode where Todd comes out looking like a good guy. It doesn't exist on the show. So none of that was shown.
Well,
you hear Bronwyn maybe talk about it, but that's it.
It's bad because not only did he go back and watch the show, but she said he was like reading every Reddit thread, which that is a terrible idea for anybody to do who's in the spotlight. That's just a recipe for mental breakdown.
Well, Todd doesn't strike me as a man who's doing a lot of therapy work. And
he's not of the therapy generation, as it were.
And I think that was like a self-hatred spiral.
Yeah.
Is what it seemed like. Like,
yeah.
He was ashamed, and then he fed the shame machine, and then he went down. He just kept going and kept going. And I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. I mean, she didn't shut the door on the relationship, but it seems like she has kind of moved on.
Well, now they're apparently living together again, like cohabitating. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? So I guess we'll find out. Let's move on to Southern Charm because we've got 2 episodes to discuss. We started last week with the Rodrigo and Tyler engagement party. And again, I love any episode that is centering Rod because he's one of my favorites. And then we see more of Audrey as she and Austin are like having this like pregame conversation about Craig and Shep and how they're talking about their relationship to everybody.
So the Audrey thing is you really get a picture into the problem with these men here, because Audrey is basically just pointing out the obvious that everyone knows about their toxic relationship between Craig and Austin. Mm-hmm. And Austin hates it. You can see that he's thinking of an exit strategy. He's like, nothing's going to come between me and my boys except for me. And I think because that's the whole thing is I think he hates Craig and Shep, but he also has this like lurid love affair with them at the same time. And any girl who's stepped in between them has ended up being cast to the side, every single one.
I disagree. I think he is hearing her and he is feeling guilt because he knows that he has told them that he doesn't see a future with her at Miss Patricia's house and probably off camera. And he's about to take her into the lion's den of this engagement party where they all are. And she's saying, like, they don't know anything about our relationship. It's going to look like my head's in the sand, but it's not. And you can see him being like,
wow,
that's what I think
that's that crystal ball you just brought out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot more sense, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think he likes the reason that
Why is he doing this to himself?
Because it's that thing where like he wants someone to call when he's having a bad day. He wants to have someone, but he doesn't want to commit to them. And I think his mom and his sister.
It's a bizarre humiliation ritual.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know. I do think these shows tend to stunt men more than women. Women have a natural biological clock when they're ready to settle down that like kind of forces it. But the guys on these shows end up being Peter Pans because they're like, well, I've got women in my DMs all day, every day. I can find someone eventually. And then you turn into Shep, you turn around, you're 46 years old. You've bought this giant house and you're just asking random women, like, do you want to have kids? Do you need help with that? You know, because you realize that like you're no longer in your prime. The girls in their 20s are not interested in you anymore. Maybe the girls in their 30s aren't either. And I think that if Austin's not careful, he's going to end up like that too.
Yeah. We see Austin and Sally openly flirt like right in front of Audrey, which leads to this like long discussion that we don't get to see.
I'm so sad that we don't get to see their fight. It's important to note they are all hammered. They're slurring their words. Prior to this at the engagement party, Craig and Sally have had a conversation that Charlie forced. Charlie's like, you guys have to make up because Sally's my friend and I can't go on a date with you otherwise. And Craig's like, fine. So Craig goes over there and calls, as he's talking to Sally, it's basically like, you are taking information from my enemy, and calls Austin his enemy. And Sally's like, And Sally says in her confessional, like, I would believe Austin 10 times more than I would believe Craig, which I think everyone would because, you know, Craig's a storyteller. And so when they come back, they all get on a party bus. I did get tickled when Shep was like, oh, it's Whitney. It's like a Bigfoot sighting. And they all go,
yeah, there's a 70-year-old man in here with us.
Oh my God. Every time I see him, he looks more and more like a wax figure. Like it really is. Yeah, it's breathtaking. And so they all go to this bar. They are they're slurring. They're like unable. Austin is like absolutely out of his mind. He even says like, I'm not going to say one second because I'm too drunk. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Maybe drink some water. Maybe someone hand out a water bottle.
Well, that's what Shep was saying. Shep got into the bus and was like, everyone needs to take a bottle of this water right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would be out there talking about electrolytes. Okay.
Yeah, you would have been good on this trip, honestly.
Oh, Lord. It was absolutely crazy. They're all Everybody there knows that Austin wants to break up with Audrey except Audrey. And we don't know what takes place at that like fight that they're having off camera to the side. The episode last night just cuts to they're doing some sort of like weird sitcom with Craig and Shep living together while Shep's having to stay at his house while his house is rented out. And I'm sorry, why did Shep sleep in a polo?
Shep cannot be trusted. Shep's just like falling into bed after like a drunken stupor every night, I feel like.
Shep slept in a polo, and inexplicably, Craig has 1,000 eggs on top of each other in a bowl. And also the way that he just calls his assistant anytime something breaks, like when he's opening all those boxes and something's broken in them and he just yells for his assistant. And he's like,
man-child.
I'm like, bro, come on. And I don't know. Everything that he was doing in that scene, the eggs are really perplexing to me. I don't understand why anyone would just ball them up in a bowl like that and then think that they're not going to flop out. That was truly insane. As soon as he pulled them out, I was like, what's happening? Why would anyone do that? Is this some sort of weird party trick? What are they doing? But anyway, so we have them together, the odd couple. And then have
Whitney calls up to invite everyone to a birthday bash at this I mean, honestly, I don't know what the vibe of this restaurant is, but it is like it seems like a turn of the century tycoon restaurant or something.
Yeah. And they're also when we get into it, we could talk about it for that, but they're all dressed for a different dinner.
Oh yeah.
All four of them. So it's difficult to tell what the vibe of the restaurant is.
Craig's in a suit.
Austin looks like he might be playing golf. But yeah, so Whitney calls everybody, tells them where they're going, and then it cuts to Madison and Vanita getting their nails done. And Vanita does feel like she's like hanging on by a thread right now in terms of the show because she's mad at Craig still. She's like tense with Sally, who's been her best friend. I don't think she and Madison have ever been tight, and that's who she's getting her nails done with. So I'm like, she looked adorable. I really liked her dress. It made me wonder if she's like a spring or a summer in terms of like color stuff. She looks so pretty in that pink. But I don't know. I felt really sorry for her here because I'm like, what is her storyline this year? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's part of the whole problem too, is like even at the very beginning of the season, Craig was trying to push her out of production because he doesn't want to film with her and doesn't like her. Yeah. And so she's fighting for every second on camera she can get.
Yeah.
But she's really not, after she kind of did the I told you so to Sally, she's kind of moved on to a secondary character. I don't like what they're doing with Molly in that regard either. It's like they're kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, when I saw the mid-season trailer, I'm excited for them all to get on a trip. I think that'll be very fun to watch. Because Molly is really funny. I think Vanita will get activated and like force some conversations on this trip. I think it'll be good. And we need that because these guys are just living with pent up rage for each other. But yeah, essentially, Craig and Charlie go on their first date, and it is literally like watching two 15-year-olds go on a date and eat oysters. Yeah, they don't even touch each other. They don't hug. They don't kiss. They're just like, I like you. Do you like me? Do you like want to do this again?
It was weirdly Southern in a strange,
I was so
repressed way. Yeah.
I was uncomfortable with how uncomfortable they were.
At all.
No. Oh my God. Craig has no game. He is so lucky that he's attractive because that man has absolutely no charisma and absolutely no game. It was wild to watch him try to flirt.
100%.
I understand what the guys are saying now. Like, he has literally no idea what to do or say. So I'm assuming that fizzled out because they're obviously not together now. But I'm like, Charlie, girl, she is so stunning. I cannot believe that some guy broke up with her, but it does to me seem like their relationship is more platonic than they think. Like, they're more commiserating about having been dumped recently, right?
I think that's what it is too. And I will also say, yeah, I think the biggest thing with, and the thing is, I don't think him and Sally had very much chemistry at all. Like, it's Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think he's having chemistry with people because he's still in love with Paige at this point. I mean, he has just said at Miss Patricia's house that he would take her back in a second if she would have him. And newsflash, she would not.
The timelines.
Yeah,
like,
these are like pretty quick
basically
turnarounds.
Right after, like they picked up cameras for the end of the previous season, like a couple of weeks before they started production on the next season.
Yeah. So Craig's still in a state. And well, no, it's summer and they broke up in the winter. So it's probably been like 5 or 6 months by the time he's going out with this. But I mean, it's still feeling fresh to some degree when you think this is the person you're going to marry and you've been together for 3 years. So anyway, they all go out for Austin's birthday. They are dressed for very different occasions. They're getting these drinks that come with like warning labels. And I got very tickled. You noticed this too. Shep and Whitney, it did seem like we're calculating the costs of everything that was being ordered. And so I just have to know, like, how much does Bravo cover versus like what they cover? Because it did seem like, I mean, the Austin and Craig did not seem to care at all. They kept ordering stuff for the table. But the two Richies were like, what's going on? Well, I think another one for the table.
I've heard things about like there are only very specific things that production will pay for.
Right.
And like I don't think a bottle of Dom for the table probably fits into that category.
Well, I think Whitney didn't like that.
Because Whitney like organized this, I think he realizes in real time, this is on me.
Well, yeah, you're like 100 millionaire, so maybe you could pick up the bill. But anyway, they go there. Shep, you can already tell, is like, oh God. He's like sitting in between them. I don't think I have ever seen him in a scene be so silent.
Oh,
have you?
No.
It's like mom and dad are fighting and Shep does not know what to do.
Well, the problem is this happens to Shep a lot, and I actually have empathy for him in this, is that mom and dad are looking to him to say something or to side with them, and there's no siding with either one of them. Like, they're both wrong.
Yeah. Well, they're talking to each other at Shep. Like, Craig will look and say something to Shep, and Shep's like, what do you want me to say?
And
like, what?
Shep's like, there's nothing I could say that's going to make this better. It's all going to be worse, so I'm not going to say anything.
No.
And I totally feel him on that.
And the truth is, like, they would not be friends were it not for the show. Because
not at this
they
point,
hate each other. They're like frenemies. But they know that they need to fight, they need to have it out, and then they're going to have to, like, come back together eventually so that they can all remain getting paid.
It's toxic.
It's very toxic, but it was very funny because Craig always wants to position himself in like a position of power. And so his way of doing that at Austin's birthday, because I think he knew that Austin wanted to utilize this as a moment to like to air his grievances. And Craig's like, I really want to do a toast to like, let's stay positive. I think it's important that, you know, we're all friends, water under the bridge. And Austin's like eyes are rolling in the back of his head. And it's like, okay, Mr. Positivity. That's what we always say about Craig.
Exactly. And friend of the pod, Madison, who has appeared on this podcast before, texts us earlier on DMs and is like, who do you side with, Craig or Austin? And then she said she sides with Craig. And really just to be contrarian and because I don't like Craig, I said Austin. But they're equally guilty in this lead up, but that manipulation by Craig, that was a real gunner moment on his part.
Yeah. And then the other thing that he said to Austin that was like so below the belt was when he came out with the line like, what have you done in the last 5 years?
Oh man, that hurt. And honestly, like that broke Austin because he's like, I can't help that my beer company didn't work out. And he just kept on. He's like, you have done nothing. You're the same exact person. Like, you're pitiful. He couldn't stop. Like, dang, man, this is his birthday, brother.
I know. And then Austin, is like, you're a terrible person. I actually do hate you. And Craig's like, you can't take those words back. I hate you. And I'm like, Honestly, what you said is way worse to me.
Oh, yeah.
I would rather someone
absolutely.
look at me and say, I hate you, than you've done nothing with your life for the last 5 years. That would break me, especially in Austin's position. And I think given the fact that Austin's having so much trouble figuring out his next move in his relationship, pointing out that he had trouble doing that with his job, that he's had trouble, like, I think it's just showing him a pattern that he's not ready to deal with right now. And it was cruel to do that at his birthday.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens with this season, because I think they're 12 seasons in, and things are getting tough to keep the wheels running on this.
Oh, please. This can go on for a while, because it's all about the boys. They don't have a biological clock. It will be about these boys until the end. The women will come and go, but none of these guys are getting hitched anytime soon. I actually strangely think that Shep is ready for a relationship of some sort now. And so I'm curious to see if that bears out for him at any point. Like, obviously not in this season, but at any point in the future, if he can actually make that happen for himself.
Right.
You know, it only took him 46 years.
Exactly. I think we're kind of reaching the end of our time, especially since my light has completely died and a lot of
You've
other
lost
things.
your sparkle.
Yeah. And I think what we should do, because we've missed several episodes of Vanderpump, and I'm thinking we should maybe do like a little bonus episode at some time to kind of pitch this show in its current formation to people, and maybe like as a mid-season challenge, like, hey, this is where we're at mid-season. This is what's happened. These are the players. Give this show a shot.
Well, I will say this about it. Right now, the major conflict is that these cousin brothers who do OnlyFans, the girls who like them have just discovered a video where they are incestuous.
Yes, absolutely. There is no way that they're going to be able to talk themselves out of this. They have literally oiled each other up and gotten on OnlyFans together. That is incestuous.
In a group with other guys. In a pile.
So give it a shot. It's good.
So give it a whirl.
And we will do this episode.
Yeah.
But I think
I do love Shane. Shane, I really thought I was going to hate him. I love him.
He's great.
My guy.
He's great.
Yeah.
So next week we'll have a little more time to talk about Vanderpump, and we'll also be doing a huge episode on the new Summer House.
So, oh my God, I'm so excited. We'll have our guest next week. So please, please, please make sure you tune in again. Make sure that you subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Instagram. I don't really care about TikTok because I don't support Larry Ellison and his fascism, but that's up to you. If you want to follow us there, great. We'll have you.
We're there. We're still posting. I'm still posting there. I
deleted it from my phone,
but I am posting there. We have more followers there than anywhere. And Rachel's like, let's stop posting.
Yep. Listen, I'm a woman of principle, if nothing else.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just want our podcast to grow.
Yeah, and dear listener, we need you for that. So share with a friend, okay? If you've made it this far, share this podcast with a friend, because we are your friends, and so share it with a friend of a friend. You understand.
All right.
All right, we love you guys. Bye.
Bye.